The girls who know already know, but the normal type is one of the most iconic types in all of the typings in Pokemon, so let's do a normal type Girlypop tier list of every single normal type Pokemon. We're doing Pokemon that turn into a normal type. We're doing the Pokemon that have become a normal type. We're doing Mega Evolution normal types. We're doing Dynamax normal types. We're doing all of the normal types. But nothing about this is normal. Let's go ahead and start with the tiers. I know that some of you guys are already coming back, but the new girls, y'all know how it is. Every time they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that there was a Girlypop community of Pokemon. Here we are. We've been waiting for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm sure you already get the jargon, but just for the formality of it all, let's get into it. On the top, we have Mother. Mother means they're doing 120%. They're definitely Girlypop. There's no question about it. But they're going even further. The concept is even more compelling. They're pushing the envelope. The second tier is Girlypop. Self-explanatory. These are the girls who are passing with 100% flying colors. The third tier is okay. Now this can go either way. As the series has gone on, I hope that you guys are starting to understand my language here. Okay means that they could be manly pop, they could be spooky pop, they could be goofy pop, they could be girly pop, but they probably need an anchor, a Girlypop anchor on the team to round it out, but they do contribute a lot to it. And then I forgot to put this in, but our second to last tier is looks around. It's like, okay, I can't tell you that like you can never be Girlypop, but it doesn't feel like it's your brand. It doesn't feel like it's your passion. I just don't think that you're in the right place, right? And then our last tier is skip. So the first one up, the bird of the Pokemon universe. I feel like everyone knows her name, Pidgey. Pidgey, let's be real, she's screaming all the time. As time goes on, she's becoming more and more basic, and like the normal type is known for having a little bit of a basic moment. It can be chic basic, it can be normcore, it can be clean girl, it can be a lot of different things, but Pidgey's giving none of that, so that's a skip. Pidgeotto, what I love about Pidgeotto is that she adds an extra syllable for the second evolution and then takes it off for the end. She's keeping you confused, she's keeping you on your toes. She's like, you know, I turned into Pidgeotto, but I feel like now that I'm a little bit more mature as Pidgeot, I just want to like tone it back a little bit. So I'm going to say looks around for Pidgeotto because she's still retaining the Pidgey aesthetic. It's just like, I don't know. I like the name, so I'm not going to skip it. Pidgeot is also looks around. However, Mega Pidgeot, she knew the assignment and she was sick for like 20 years of being slept on. It's okay. With the normal type, it's like it can be a blessing and a curse because there's so many iconic normal types, and I know that you guys see them on the list already. We are going to get to them, but you know I love to yap. It helps you to stand out, to be so normal around all of these campy, crazy typings. In other ways, like Pidgeot, your concept is literally just a dusty bird. So I'm so sorry, girl. Now, a lowland Rattata, I'm going to say okay. I think that it was interesting. When we saw it, it was interesting. And I know that it has a more, with its color palette, I guess it can have a connotation of being a little bit more masculine. And when we talk about Girlypop, I think that we're going more into femme territories. But there's something there to it. I think it can add a lot to a team. Also, the same with the normal Rattata. And then I'm going to also say for a lowland Raticate, it's also okay. However, Raticate itself is a skip. I think that the Spearow line is a full skip. Like, we're not even going to talk about it. I'm just so bored of it. Jigglypuff. That's Mother. Not only does she have presence in the anime, and I really don't really talk about the anime a lot because I think the games themselves really represent the Pokemon enough, but she went even further. That's that 120%. She has a lead single, she has the album rollout, she's been promoting since like the 1990s, and to this day, people are still waiting for her to be one-upped in her category. Like, she is the singer. If you're at home, go outside right now, and I want you to say, who is this? With a picture of Jigglypuff. Who is this? Cover up the name if it's like a Pokemon card. Say, who is this? And everyone will tell you, that's Jigglypuff. Mother. Wigglytuff is Girlypop. I think Wigglytuff has elevated in a lot of ways, but there's something missing with the promotion, with the PR of it all, with the image, with the presence. I don't know, maybe she's eclipsed by Jigglypuff. And we actually talked about this in my fairy type video, where sometimes really iconic Pokemon can sort of sabotage themselves if they evolve, because like one of their forms is just so well known and has such a presence that the form that comes after just has a little tinge of disappointment. Now, where's Igglybuff? She's going to be like Dusknoir, isn't she? Where she's trying to hide because she knows I'm about to go in on her, because we're going to find, there she is. There she is. In the normal type category, she's not competing with the fairy types. Like, we're considering her in a normal type category. We're considering her as a normal type placement on a Pokemon team. I have to say, she's girly pop when we're talking about the normals. Now, I might move you down, Igglybuff, because you know I'm a little bit hard on you. I think that Meowth, I love Meowth, and I love every iteration of Meowth. Is this crazy? I feel like Meowth is girly pop. I think Persian is girly pop, and I honestly think that Dynamax Meowth took it to a level that sort of broke the boundaries of girly pop, because I'm thinking of like a typical girly pop Dynamax Pokemon might be like Alcremie, you know, like a mother, but she took it to a concept that was so meta. It's the long cat. It has meme references. It's also playing on Meowth. Like we've always accepted that Meowth is one of the mascot Pokemon, but I don't think that we've ever had the conversation of really giving her limelight. We just say, oh yeah, there's Meowth, there's Pikachu, there's Jigglypuff, but Meowth tends to not really get a lot of play. So I'm going to say that Dynamax Meowth deserves her flowers. And this is kind of crazy. I don't know. Maybe some people in the comments are going to disagree with me on this. I also want to say this one more thing. I say this all the time on my streams. I'm probably going to say this on every single video every time I bring up Meowth, because I don't know, I'm starting to get used to YouTube and it's starting to get fun, and I'm just like talking to you guys and I'm feeling comfortable. But I would love to see this concept. Can we retroactively go through each of the regions and add a domestic cat variant for Meowth? Like, for the Galarian Meowth, we can just keep it that way, and the Alolan Meowth, we can keep it that way, but I want like a domestic cat variation for every single Meowth, because I feel like that's so representative of the cat Pokemon that there's so many different patterns and types. Now, I'll be real about Farfetch'd. The T on her is kind of strange. Like, I feel like at a certain point, she was like the funny Pokemon, but now it's just like, what are you doing at this point? I get that they did something with Farfetch'd, and we're not talking about the fighting type. By the way, I think the fighting type is a really interesting one to talk about. I appreciate Farfetch'd for taking it into that crazy direction, but Farfetch'd itself, I think, is just like, it's one of those Pokemon that just stopped. The Pokemon franchise has gone on so long that some of these Pokemon are just really getting like lost in the sauce of it all, and I'm gonna say that this is a skip. Doduo, I'm gonna say is okay, because Doduo is really interesting. It's really, really cute. Every single generation, it's like those beady eyes get shinier and shinier, and I really love it. Now, Dodrio is, I don't know, it's kind of strange because it's the same concept. They just add one more head, but something about Dodrio goes into horror territory, and I just have to skip. Lickitung. Lickitung is girly pop. I don't know what it is. It's giving Slowpoke in another way. It's like alternative Slowpoke. I honestly feel like Lickitung is like the first regional form or like alternate form of a Pokemon, but they didn't have a name for it yet. They didn't incorporate it yet. So it just became its own Pokemon. And speaking of which, Licky, I want to say his mother. Every time I see Licky on a team, I just have to like do my claps, do my snaps, you know? Now, the Happiny line is all girly pop, and this is going to be a really crazy take, because now that I'm observing it, Happiny is girly pop, Chansey is girly pop, and then Blissey actually goes into mother territory, and that's how you elevate. This is similar to the treatment that I gave the Togepi line in the fairy type video, in that it elevates. Togepi is really, really iconic, but I think that it stays at the same note. And it's the same with Chansey, but Blissey just goes into another direction. I think it's the frills. I think it's the frills and the wings. I feel like if you just add an element of Sailor Moon to the design, it automatically becomes mother. Now, Kangaskhan is mother. So is the, that's the Mega Evolution. Now, yes, let's look at this, right? Kangaskhan is definitely not pink, and we have a lot of pink representation in the girly pop and mother category. It's definitely not cute. It does have cuteness because it has a little baby and stuff like that. But if there's one thing that I'm always going to do is support mothers. We love to say mother, we love to say this, that, and the other, but any sort of feminine presence that's out here raising the youth and protecting the youth will always get their snaps and claps from me. Tauros is a skip. I don't see any placement in Tauros. I think that its design, much like Farfetch'd, is sort of losing its steam, losing its novelty. I mean, it lost its novelty a long time ago, but after Bouffalant came out, it was like, oh girl, can you get a new wig, get a new stylist, get something new? And they did give us something new in the recent generation, but the original Tauros, skip. Ditto is Girlypop because Ditto could be anything, and Ditto has her own merch line. Ditto's out here promoting Pokemon. Ditto's out here pushing the envelope. Ditto's out here putting on every single gown that she possibly can. Ditto sees a new horizon and she chases it, and that's why I love her. Eevee is mother. Eevee is so mother that Pikachu, every single day, that tired little rat, sweats every time that she goes to sleep, if she can even fall asleep in Eevee's presence. Knowing that Eevee is around and kicking makes Pikachu shake and quiver, because everyone knows that Pikachu is signed to a really high label agency. She has a really big marketing fund, and they've successfully advertised Pikachu and convinced us that Pikachu is the one. But Eevee, as an independent artist, has managed to become the other mascot, and Pikachu is so scared of her talent, so scared of her looks, so scared of what she can provide, and every time that she does get the opportunity to provide, she eats it up even further, and we saw it in the Dynamax form. Here's another tangent. I know that everyone's like, I want a dragon type Eevee, I want a flying type Eevee, I want a rock type Eevee, I want those things too, but here's a concept. What if they give us another normal type Eevee? What if, through certain circumstances, you could evolve Eevee to a second stage of a normal type that just looks even more, almost like giving it the Persian treatment, like how Meowth goes to Persian? It could just be more graceful. The fur would be thicker and more lush. She would be like bigger and stronger, and her stats would just boost even more. I just think that there's a lot that you can do with that, and I think that not enough people are really talking about the opportunity there. The Porygon line is a natural progression. I feel like when Porygon first came out, during the earlier stages of the generations, it existed definitely in the Girlypop territory, but in comparison to the Pokemon that we are dealing with now and how some of them have aged in the franchise and the sort of narratives and storylines that have been implemented, Porygon itself is like a looks around. I feel like none of us really catch Porygon for Porygon. We catch it for Porygon 2, which is okay. And then Porygon Z, I think, jumps up to Girlypop category. Now, the Munchlax line is really interesting, and as every time I do a typing, it's interesting that I end up finding something new and unique about each typing and what it provides when we're trying to analyze its like aesthetics and how Girlypop it is. The normal typing is quite dynamic because the Munchlax Snorlax line is admittedly very manly pop. It follows a lot of motifs that are considered more masculine. He looks like a sumo wrestler to me, things like that. But there's so much crossover with Snorlax because it is so cute, and a valid way of achieving a Girlypop aesthetic is to go for cuteness. You don't always have to go for cuteness. For example, we have Dynamax Meowth. We have Kangaskhan, which it does have a cute factor, but you get what I'm saying, it's more like a mother concept. Munchlax Snorlax is very cute. So I'm going to say Munchlax itself is like Girlypop because it's the cutest version of Snorlax. Snorlax goes into okay territory, and I want to say that Dynamax Snorlax, if they ever bring it back and canonize it in a way where we can always have Dynamaxed Pokemon in battles, in that scenario, I feel like that's also okay. I think the Ferret and Sentret line do what Pidgey should have done and what Spearow should have done. These brown muted tones that can be boring are offset by the fact that these Pokemon are so bouncy and fun and expressive and unique. Obviously, they're based off of real life animals that we can compare them to, but they take them into a direction that makes them so anime and fun. So I'm going to say that these guys are Girlypop. Hoothoot is okay. Noctowl looks around. The weird thing with the normal typing is that it's either gonna give you something or it's not if you're going for Girlypop, I'm seeing, because the looks around category is already quite thin. And Noctowl is a good representation of why it's like, I don't know how to feel about it because I love the silhouette. I love the look in its eyes. I love the concept that it's giving, but it fits more into a concept with Decidueye, and we've already discussed what I felt like about Decidueye in the ghost type video. It's giving more rogue. It's giving medieval, not high fantasy girly pop medieval, but like a scary owl in the woods who's about to give you a tale or some sort of limerick or some sort of riddle that will lead you to an even darker adventure. And while that can be satiating, and I do want to get into the Elden Ring of it all doesn't really give girly pop. Now, Aipom itself, even though it's like purple and stuff, I'm gonna say that it's okay because it's one of those Pokemon that I feel like get forgotten. But Ampibom, while it's even more obscure than Aipom, that little microbang, the way she invented microbangs, the way that every girl on TikTok right now is trying to look like Ampibom, the way that she's giving jazz hands, it's just like, this is such a crazy concept that I have to say it's girly pop. When I'm thinking about it, Girafarig does give girly pop. She's like a basic girly pop. She's like a flop girly pop. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, her concept is obviously girly pop. Like, she's giving horse girl, she's giving giraffe, her face, the little antennas, it's all very, very cutesy, but for some reason she doesn't get representation. So I guess for that, because she does have everything she needs, but it still doesn't stick, she's going to be okay. However, Fear Giraffe, the way she was represented in Scarlet and Violet, that solidified it. Like, that's what she needed, and I think she knew that she needed it. She just needed the budget and she needed the push from Game Freak, and when she finally did give it, she gave it. So that's girly pop. The Dunsparce line gives comedy, but its coloring and its roundness give cute. Because of that, I feel like it's girly pop, and maybe this is contentious, and tell me if I'm the only one, but I feel like we all were out here for Dunsparce before it got strong, because at first it used to be like a joke Pokemon, but I still had it on my team because, I mean, look at it. I mean, it actually fits so well into the girly pop category. It's an intuitive sort of decision that I think when you clicked on this chapter, because I know that some of you guys click on chapters. I know some of you guys just listen all the way through, but I know some of you guys click on chapters. Hi, that's fine. When you clicked on this chapter, I think you just wanted my confirmation that it was girly pop, so there it is. And with that in consideration, looking at it, how it fits so naturally in the line, there's no question as to how valid its girly pop is. And Dunsparce took it further, and that's Mother. A weird mother. And I'm actually really starting to like the mother category of the normal type, because the normal type, because it's so basic in its concept, you can go anywhere with it. It's not how well can you be spooky, how well can you be fairy. It's more like how well can you take a unique concept and make it your own. How authentic can you be? What's your tea, you know? And now going forward, I think I'm going to start considering that. Teddiursa, girly pop. Ursa Ring, skip. No. Looks around. He's cute. He's cute, but he's not giving Snorlax cute. You know, I wanted to put him in okay, but let's be real, he doesn't have that sort of presence, that stage presence that Snorlax has, and that is carrying Snorlax. It's not carrying Ursaring. Okay, Stantler is looks around. I feel like Stantler and Wurdeer, as much as they're like, they have a concept and a silhouette that is iconic. A lot of Pokemon fans know them and can name them. There's something weird about them. I just don't think that girly pop is necessarily their aesthetic. There must be some other aesthetic for it. I'm putting it in looks around, but based off of the reactions that I get on YouTube, you guys have to understand, I'm from TikTok. I'm not used to being able to like have actual conversations with people. I'm normally just used to people making comments at me instead of with me or for me. So if you have anything to say and weigh in about this line, because I'm feeling weird about this, I don't know where to place it. Can you guys help me to understand? Like, I want the Stantler fans to help me to understand its serve, and maybe like later on we can just like adjust this. Smeargle is girly pop. I mean, look at her pose. It's very like boyish and tomboyish. The fact that she can just like take any move, like we could have this Smeargle have charm, alluring voice, sweet kiss, and sweet scent. Like that's the way that you can play with Smeargle. Smeargle always adds like an element of surprise and spontaneity to a team. It just takes it even further because it's like she's the painter and the rest of the Pokemon are her muse. You know, like there's so many concepts that you could just easily make up for Smeargle. Miltank, Mother. The rollout trauma that she put into all of us, she said, even if you don't like girly pop, you're going to remember girly pop. You're going to know what girly pop feels and looks like. for the rest of your life. I'm gonna say that Zigzagoon is okay. She's very much weighed down by Linoone, which just goes into a direction of complete forget about her, like flopped on arrival, skip. Now, Galarian, Zigzagoon, and Linoone are finally giving us a moment to munch and crunch on, the monochromatic punk moment. Like, as much as this is like punk rock and it's going away from cuteness, you have to be honest, like, that's Mother. This whole line is Mother. Well, let's put Linoone down at okay, because let's be real, we're just considering, actually, Obstagoon is so manly pop. I'm gonna put it down in okay as well. It's that punk moment. When we first saw Zigzagoon, Galarian Zigzagoon, we were all in. I don't care if you're like a kawaii girl. I don't care if you're an emo girl. I don't care if you're just like a normal type trainer girl. We all could notice what she was trying to give, and we gave her flowers for it. She started going into a direction that was a little bit less cutesy, but still, it's an absolute serve. And you could do like an emo girly pop team. Like, I'm thinking of like Obstagoon being like the emo boyfriend to like a Gothitelle team. Get into that tea, right? Now, I'm gonna look. Taillow and Swallow looks around. They are kind of coded in a girly pop way. But girl, look at the competition. Look at the competition. Let's just be real. They're not as low as like the other birdie girlies, but you can't really compete with like the girls that are up there and okay. Slakoth and its whole line is unique and really stands out. Slakoth itself has enough cuteness to be okay. I don't really see a lot of people running it, but it definitely can run on a team. Y'all know I try not to talk about the shinies, but I can't help but think about the shiny. I think Slakoth's shiny just really goes so beyond that you can't help but consider it. Vigoroth is looks around. I don't know, maybe with the coloring and its silhouette, you could do like maybe like a monkey based team where Ampabomb is maybe the ace and you want to have like maybe a Simisage, Simisear. Like, it could be a very femme monkey team, and then Vigoroth can have like a more yin to the yang, or is yang the masculine? I'm thinking about how masculine coded Vigoroth is, and it's like it could strike a balance. I think Slaking, this is kind of weird, but I just don't think that Slaking is a skip. Like, it's got something to it. The performance aspect to Slaking does add a little bit of something. Like, just for example, I'm thinking like Licky, Kangaskhan with the Slaking. This is just a rough concept, but it's like we're kind of creating shapes, we're creating colors. Like, it could match because Slaking does have an element of comedy to it. Now, Whismur starts off as girly pop. I just think that we all caught it the moment we saw it. I remember when I was young and I first saw my first Whismur, I was like, that's my Pokemon. And then she evolved. Skip. I can't take it. It's the way that I feel betrayed by the evolution line. Now, I've learned something new. Is this real? Is Azurill actually a normal water type? It is. Wow, it is. Okay, well, Azurill, I mean, look at the material. Look at the material. That's girly pop. She's not going to be Mother because I just don't think that she's one of those baby Pokemon. She's not up there with Miltank. Like, when we're looking at Mother here, they're all doing something. Like I said, what is your T? Her T is that she's the baby of a more iconic Pokemon. Skitty, Mother. Delcatty, Mother. These are the kitty cat girlies. So for Skitty and Delcatty, I will go ahead and say I did want Meowths to have their own regionals for every single region. Skitty and Delcatty's region, that's already done. They've got that one in the bag. It's done. It's good. Spinda reminds me of Britney Spears. You found me. Let's go shopping. Now, if you guys are not on TikTok, you don't get that joke, but that was for the TikTok girlies. Swablu is definitely girly pop, like, duh. But just like Azurill, she is more of the accessory to a more iconic Pokemon, but we haven't done dragon or flying type yet, so we're not going to talk about that. Zangoose is giving what Vigoroth is giving, but way too far into like an edgelord aesthetic. Don't get me wrong, that's a skip, by the way, but I have my own shiny Zangoose. I think that Zangoose is a really unique and fun Pokemon. I love Zangoose, but I don't think that I would ever put the normal version of Zangoose on a girly pop team. I've attempted to put the shiny on a girly pop team, and even then it's kind of hard to do. And I'm so sorry, Cast Form, while she is completely forgotten, while nobody is out here talking about cast form the way that I am. Maybe I'm crazy, but she doesn't get the love that she deserves. The question is for the normal type competition, if you want to be mother, what is your tea? And she's giving you tea. She's given you tea since she showed up. Kecleon is really interesting. Kecleon has a lot of serve to give. Kecleon is one of the most unique Pokemon, and for that, it's okay, because Kecleon can blend into pretty much anything. I think Starly's okay. I think it's funny. I think it's really cute, and then its evolution gets kind of funny, so it's okay. I think Staraptor is, looks around. I think about its... I don't know. It gives enough of an aesthetic that I can't skip it completely. I could see it matching more like with a Girlypop team as an accessory, but not so much. I don't know. I'm over here trying to validate its looks around, but I'm really I'm so sorry, Staraptor. I can't even think of an excuse. I was going to say, like, maybe it could give, like, Corviknight. It could be, like, the knight in shining armor, because it does have, like, a stoicism to it. But Corviknight's already giving that. And I know that we're not talking about the flying type, but the flying type has so much normal type crossover that you can't help but mention it when you talk about the birds. Bidoof is a Girlypop, and Bibarel is... okay. There's an energy about Bibarel, right? There's a moment. Now, Baneri, let's say it together. I know that some people watch me while they're studying or at their office or when they're like doing stuff. Just like whisper it if you're like in a busy place. We'll say it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Mother. No, let's do it again for Lopunny. 1, 2, 3. Mother. Right? Let's go ahead and go for Mega Lopunny too. 1, 2, 3. Mother. Yeah. No question. Okay, so Ozempic cat, Lay Meow. Girlypop. Per ugly, mother. And we're going back to it. What is your tea? How can you take this to 120%? Because the normal type is basic. So how do you stay basic? How do you stay within your lane, but take it somewhere crazy? She said, I started as an Ozempic cat, then I went to the gym, I got my creatine, I bulked up because I really believe in my health and being strong and being able to protect my girls. But I'm wearing a corset. Gotta get shapely with the corset. Now Chatot, or Chatot. Shout out to her for traumatizing so many children when she first came out. You can see it in her eyes. She loves to stir the pot. And I think Girlypops also really love a little bit of drama, especially when it's all fun, because our ears perk up and we're like, oh, what's going on? This seems like a little bit of fun. Like, I want to spill the tea. I want to key with you. And Chatot, she's there to do it too. Impact alone, mother. Regigigas. Skip. I know that I'm starting to get a lot of people who are getting defensive about how I treat legendaries, but I feel like if you're a legendary, your narrative already is like, look at me, look at me, look at me. The spotlight is already on you. You can't just like sit there and like stand and do nothing with the spotlight. Like, give me something more. Arceus, I had the same opinion about, but after Pokemon Legends, I am a little bit more into it. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, so there's more to the narrative. And yes, it's not her fault that she had Game Freak write more. I mean, Regigigas, I'm sure, is waiting for their own legends, but right now, this is how the cookie crumbles. This is what's set on the table, and Arceus is, okay, she can be a little bit of anything, and she gave us story. She gave us lore. And one thing that people don't understand about Girlypops is we love context to the serve. Pat Rat and...
Won't you?
Shout out to them for taking Miltank's legacy and sort of spinning it in their own way. This is another Pokemon that goes into horror territory. However, I do think that they're giving it in a way that's enjoyable, that's not spooky scary. The concept is really scary. Like, if I was walking in the woods and I saw a Pat Rat in real life, I would scream at the top of my lungs. So for that, I'm going to say, like, looks around, because I just don't know how to feel about them. I think Lillipup is Girlypop. Lillipup is one of those Pokemon, just like Whismur, where we caught them and we were like, oh my goodness, you're so cute. Yes, you're going to be on my team. And this is kind of weird and strange to say, but unlike Whismur, I feel like a lot of the Girlypop trainers, when they were first going through the Lillipup generation. What generation was that? Oh, generation 5, of course. Generation 5 has so many Girlypop picks. But when we were going through, I think a lot of us kept it around because it is giving, like, every hot girl loves to go on like their hot girl walk during the summer, right? We always have like that dog with us. Like, I don't have a dog, but if I did, it would be very like Lillipup coated or Herdier coated or Stoutland coated. And it's kind of like Snorlax in that way. So I'm gonna say like okay, because these do sort of go into a more masculine territory. It loses some cuteness, but the concept and the context really helps to keep it from getting a skip. And now I wanted to call Pidove Starly. Which one of them came first? Because we're actually about to completely change this list. Pidove came out in Black and White. Starly came out in Diamond and Pearl. Yeah, Pidove, stop trying to copy your girl. Skip on that. But Unpheasant, I'm sorry, Miss Turkey. That's a little bit girly pop, right? The boys giving fashion, the girls giving stance. Like, they both look like they're about to be on a runway. I don't know. There's something weird about it. Now, Audino. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Mother. Mega Audino. If I could, I would, but then that would change the whole list. I love Mega Audino so much. And I think the reason why I want to add another tier to it is because I just want to give her flowers so much. I'm so sad that we lost this Pokemon. This is one of those Pokemon where I was saying in one of my past videos, I wish that Pokemon that don't have a current evolution just had their Mega Evolution ushered in and they just like lowered the stats a little bit to balance it out, because I would be so fine if Audino evolved into Mega Audino. They could name it something else, like 2Dino. But that's Mother, yeah. Okay, Zorora and Zoroark, I was actually ready to really dog them and put them a little bit lower and be like, well, that I was going to dock some points in the context of the normal type because they are a ghost type. But as we've done this and we've gone further and further, I'm realizing that the Mother category of the normal type requires a sense of uniqueness, a diversifier. And really, look at this. It just fits so well in there, doesn't it? Stop and look. I know that y'all are busy or something right now, but stop and look at that. That fits. Now, Minccino and Cinccino, they're not Mother. They're Girlypop, though. This is kind of hard to explain, but I'm a big K-pop fan. I'm half Korean, so I've like been into Korean media for my whole life. And I don't remember her name. I don't remember where she's from, if she's an actress, if she's a singer or anything. But there's this one iconic photo that I saw in the 2010s of a Korean celebrity in an airport who was dressed exactly like Minccino. And I'm telling you, I can't get it out of my head. Every time I see Minccino, like, she gives airport chic. Like, she gives that one woman who's obviously on her way to a business meeting, but she has a stylist and she has a makeup artist. She's too busy to keep them around all the time, but she is in constant correspondence with them. Her stylist has sort of curated a go-to sort of simple, easy to put on, easy to take off sort of wardrobe that she uses everywhere she goes, because a businesswoman of this level requires an image. I mean, that's just the unfortunate way that we treat women in the world, is like we're constantly keeping them to these high standards, but she does it gracefully. She's learned specific makeup techniques from her makeup artist as well. She doesn't get her makeup done. She has her makeup artist come in and collaborate with her on how to create an easy to do, business ready, business appropriate makeup look. She's clean, she's fresh, she's elevated, and she's always one step ahead. Deerling. Let's go piece by piece. I was going to say that each of the Deerlings were going to get one sweep of a category, but after doing some of the other form variations in past videos, I think it's important to look at each and every one of them. Autumn Deerling, is that the orange one? Okay, I'm going to go by color. Orange Deerling is okay. The orange is really cute, but it doesn't carry its own weight. It can add a pop of color though that I can really appreciate. Green Deerling is also going to be there too. I think that this brown Deerling looks around. I just don't really see it fitting with the normal types right now. But Pink Spring Deerling, the fact that I knew it, and I feel like you guys knew it too. I know that some people are going to be like, well, actually, I knew all the forms. Girl, every single Girlypop does know that the pink one is the Spring Deerling. That alone means that she has impact. That is Mother. Now, Sawsbuck loses a lot of its cuteness. It goes into Manly Pop territory. I can see an Eleganza Manly Pop team with Sawsbuck, and an absolutely beautiful Eleganza team with Sawsbuck. And Sawsbuck can add an air of femininity too. I see it mostly with the autumn Sawsbuck, the fall-coated Sawsbuck. It's the long tresses of hair. I mean, I know it's leaves, but you get what I'm saying. And the concept of it, the fact that it like grows trees on its horns is so camp. I'm going to say that that's okay. I'm going to say that summer Sawsbuck is like a skip. I just don't like it. I don't think that it gives what it needs to. If you want like a leafy moment, I think that the autumn Sawsbuck gives way more in that regard. Winter Sawsbuck is also okay because it has a lot of viability in an icy team, or even like just going off of this list, I could immediately see it matching with Minccino, but it would never overshadow Minccino. I want to say that spring Sawsbuck is Girlypop. It's the little Sakuras, you know, like when you add an element of Sakura or like Sailor Moon, a pink flower, some angel wings, something like that, like call it a low-hanging fruit, but it works, you know. Bouffalant is looks around. She elevated Tauros, but she's not going for Girlypop. However, it's interesting enough that I would like to mix it maybe with like, let's see. I can't really see anything in the normal typing, but it's not a full skip. I appreciate the effort there. Now, Rufflet, I think, is just another forgettable bird Pokemon, and I really don't want to harp on the bird Pokemon too much. And when we actually talk about the flying type in specifics, I'm going to go a lot into the flying type because I think the flying type is really untapped potential, and it frustrates me to see how they treat specifically all of the bird Pokemon. I just have forgotten about Rufflet ever since it came out. Flopped on arrival, skip. Braviary is also a skip in this. It's not a bad Pokemon, and I think that its Hisuian form is interesting, but it's not Girlypop. Now, you remember when I was talking about Regigigas and how it's unfortunate that Arceus got way more of a bigger movie deal than Regigigas did. It got another game, you know. But because it's a legendary or a mythical doesn't mean that it's automatically going to serve, because the spotlight is put on them. They narratively write these mythicals and legendaries to have the spotlight put on them. And arguably, Meloetta is way more obscure of a Pokemon. As a mythical, Meloetta is hard to obtain before the current generation. It's mysterious. It's so secretive, but it's mother. It's also giving a really hard Girlypop concept, but it elevates it even further by having two different forms, having mystery, having an implied narrative, as opposed to it being shoved down your throat, maybe like Arceus. She tells her story. She walks into a photo shoot studio, and the first frame that is caught on the camera tells the full story, you know, and that's mother. I'm going to say that Bunnelby is Girlypop. I just think that we all caught it when it first showed up, and like that's an interesting thing about the normal typing, is that the normal typing can go any way because its concept is supposed to be like the unaspected typing, and it goes way far off from Girlypop, so that Diggersby is a skip. Now, if we were talking about the shinies, this would be a completely different story, but I'm not talking about the shinies today. I have to continue to remind myself that we're not talking about the shinies today. I can't even remember this little bird's name. Is it Fletchling? Skip. I think the Litleo Pyro line is really interesting because, I don't know, like, have we seen the fire type mix with the normal typing yet up to this point? I try to do these in order because I do like to tell the story of how this typing has evolved over time. And that's something to consider. I think that alone is why this Pokemon has always had like its own lane. I'm gonna say Litleo is okay, and Pyroar goes into Girlypop because of female Pyroar. Now, when I uploaded the Furfrou image, I did not upload the other forms, so I went ahead and added all of the forms there if you can see them. I think it's important to talk about each of the forms. I actually, a couple months ago, did an entire analysis on each of the forms and like what they imply about the person who uses them. But normal Furfrou, I think, is okay. In its essence alone, it's supposed to be like the normal type that you can impress yourself upon. Matron Trim Furfrou goes into Girlypop territory. It's actually, when I think about it, it's actually mother territory. I think Matron Trim is a deep cut. I think Matron Trim is something that a lot of people don't get, but just like Charlie XCX's Brat, it's for the culture and it's for the girls who need her, and it's giving like Card Captor Sakura. That's what I said a couple months ago, is like it gives Card Captor Sakura to me, and that is so adjacent to Sailor Moon that I can't help but give it mother. Dandy Trim is also okay. While it is a more masculinized aesthetic, it does sort of reference a more Uji aesthetic, and anybody who knows me knows that probably every month I talk about how much I love Uji fashion. I think that it's something that's very slept on in the West, and I think that if we could keep the conversation going more and more and more, maybe they'll start making them in my sizes, those outfits in my sizes, and then I will be a happy camper and I'll finally close my mouth about it. Debutante Furfrou is Girlypop. I just feel like that's a standard sort of moment, and the same with Heart Furfrou, that's Girlypop. Putting it in Girlypop doesn't feel right. I feel like that's also another mother. This is just going all the way into like Girlypop, Girlypop, Girlypop. Like, this is a hard concept Girlypop. She said, I'm not really going to try to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to go so gaudy Girlypop that you can't help but notice my high femme. Oh, Pharaoh Trim Furfrou. I don't really vibe with this. I'm going to say looks around. Star Trim Furfrou is definitely Girlypop. Diamond Trim, kind of like the dandy. That's okay. I think Kabuki goes into Girlypop, and then Lorraine is also okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that for sure. Helioptile into Heliolisk. I'm going to say that Helioptile is going to be okay. I think Helioptile can be a really great accessory to an electric type team. It's really cute. Heliolisk gets a little bit weird, but it is unique enough, much like Bouffalant, where I'm like, okay, I can't skip you all the way, so we're going to put you there. Come on now. Toucanon is giving, I don't know how to describe this, but like, every day of my life as a queer person, a member of the Alphabet Club, I'm doing what I can to always represent my bi people out there. And I don't know why, but like Toucanon just gives like bi energy. And I try not to talk about the Alphabet Club when I'm talking about Girlypop, because I do think that there's a distinction. I think that people think that Girlypop means that it's just for girls and gay boys and lesbians who can vibe with us. But like, that's not the thing. It's like, it's an all-inclusive thing, and that is why Toucanon is Girlypop. Now, its baby form is like a skip to me. Picky Peck. Yeah, and doesn't it have a middle evolution? I don't know, and I don't care. Toucanon's Girlypop. Now, Yungoos and Gumshoos. The imagery is not their fault, and I don't think that they meant for it to look that way. But that's a skip to me. Now, Stuffle. Stuffle is Girlypop, and so is Beware. I'm waiting for them to get more of a moment. They are getting to a point where they might fade into obscurity, but every time they show back up, they reinstate why we love them so much, and that's why they go into Girlypop. Oranguru is a looks around. I just think that Oranguru, as well as its, what's the other one that holds the ball? The one that holds the berry? I don't know who made them, because Alola is such an iconic generation, and those two Pokemon just feel like they aren't even Pokemon. Like, I'm like, who designed them? Like, no offense. They're really unique designs. They're really well crafted, but they just like don't feel like they fit into the National Pokédex to me. Silvally, I'm going to say is a skip. I don't remember how it got introduced. I don't really care how it got introduced. Komala, Girlypop. Drampa is Girlypop. Squovit is okay. As well as evolution, yes. I don't know. They're squirrels. I know a lot of people rag on them and stuff, but they're kind of like Bibarel. It's like, look at the looks around. They don't belong in looks around. You know, they are giving us something. Wooloo is Girlypop, and Dubwool is also Girlypop. I think that they have such a satisfying color scheme. It's black and white, right? But I don't know, something about how they did it just like feels so right. It feels so right to me. I think Indeedee is Mother. I think the two forms are really interesting. I just always feel like Girlypops are always conversing about Indeedee. Both of the forms can give a different aesthetic, and they're just so fun to play with when you're trying to build out a team. I think Ursaluna is... See, Ursaluna kind of has like that sort of Munchlax storyline, or the Herdier to Stoutland storyline, but it still looks around. I don't really see it like really creating that impact. It's had enough time to create an impact, and it just hasn't done that yet. The normal type has so many Pokemon, like I'm literally like running out of breath. Now Lechonk is okay, and I think that Oikalone is also okay. It's kind of interesting because they're fun, but I think that they over advertise them to the point where like people aren't really giving them the representation that they need, and I'm really worried about them. I feel like maybe in a couple years they're about to turn into a skip, but for right now they're okay. Tandemaus and Mousehold are Girlypop. I feel like they were made for us. This is a high concept, and now that I'm thinking of it, Mousehold actually goes into Mother. They gave us a fun concept and then they elevated it further. There's no other Pokemon that is like Mousehold. It was so fun to evolve Mousehold. They're so fun to play with. They're strong. They're gimmicky. They're giving you performance. Smoliv is Girlypop. Dolliv is Mother. Arboliva is Girlypop. The reason why I say this is a lot of people sort of stop using Arboliva, I feel like. I love Arboliva, but its sort of kit and stuff is about more standing in the background, being stoic, being more attenuated. So with that, it kind of goes back into Girlypop, but Dolliv is really where she peaked. Squawkabilly is a looks around. Should we do all the forms? No, because all the forms are going to be a looks around, honestly. The Grafaiai line is okay. I think that they give cute and they give weird. Like, they give cute and weird enough that you kind of just want to, like, accept them. Like, they can still sit at the table, right? Cyclizar, skip. And Terapagos, I'm actually going to say is okay. I think that this mythical actually has a really lovely design, a really lovely color scheme. It was really fun to learn about this, and that's a lot from me because y'all know how I feel about mythicals and legendaries. So, thank you guys for watching. Please comment something that really like keeps the conversation going. I know that like I keep asking that, but I really do feel motivated when people feel compelled to talk with me because I'm an INTP. I really enjoy picking people's brains and I enjoy picking my own brain. I love looking at things from different perspectives, and I just really love that you guys are matching my freak in the sense that I'm getting some comments on some videos, like the Genshin Impact videos, some of the typing videos, some of the Final Fantasy XIV videos, where people are like giving me full things to read, and I'm so serious. I read them and it helps me to better understand the language that I'm trying to build, the language that I'm trying to create. I don't want to make this seem like I have some grand mission, but when I'm talking about is this type Girlypop, I feel like there's nothing else on the internet that's talking about it. And now that I have like thousands of people who are coming and watching and hundreds of people who are commenting, I feel like we have an opportunity here to really like carve out a genre. And the more that you guys chime in, the more that I'm coming to understand how I feel about things. So whatever you guys are up to, if you're at work right now listening to this, I really appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope that the rest of your shift or whatever your project you're working on goes by smoothly. If you're studying, I'm going to say the same thing. I hope that goes by smoothly. If you're like just playing games, doing your dailies and stuff like that, I hope that you got some good drops. And if you're just like literally sitting here watching the video, hey, have a good one, everyone. Bye.